What if I told you there was a footballer so technically gifted, so explosive, that people started to wonder if he was even human? From insane dribbles that left defenders on the ground, to pulling off some of the most mind-blowing goals ever seen on a football pitch, Neymar Jr. is one of the greatest talents of his generation. You heard that right. This legend not only created some of the most watched football highlights on YouTube, but his unique skill and flair also defined some of the wildest matches in football history, including the greatest comeback the Champions League has ever seen. So how did Neymar develop this almost supernatural ability, and why does he refuse to play like everyone else? To understand, we have to go back to Neymar da Silva Santos Sr. and his wife Nadine, who were living in Mogi das Cruzes, Brazil, when they welcomed their son Neymar into the world. Neymar Sr., a former professional footballer in Brazil, understood the game at a level few could, and he dedicated his life to shaping his son into the player he himself never got to become. The Neymar family would later move to São Vicente, where young Neymar began to fall in love with football. That passion grew stronger through futsal, a smaller, faster game that taught him control, agility, and improvisation. But tragedy and struggle were a part of the journey too. Even at a young age, Neymar learned how to overcome setbacks both on and off the pitch, lessons that molded the boy into a man ready to handle the pressures of professional football. By the age of 11, he was already a standout talent, joining Santos FC's youth academy, where his journey to becoming a global superstar truly began. He was obsessed with the game, either outside training for hours or inside watching matches, studying tricks and movements from his idols. This mindset, combined with his natural skill, turned him into one of Brazil's brightest young prospects. Neymar made a promise to himself, writing on the wall of his room, "I will become the best player in the world." Santos were one of the top programs in Brazil. The defenders, older and stronger, tried to push him off the ball. Neymar had two choices: either adapt and develop his flair and speed, or fade away. The young forward chose to evolve, creating a style no one had ever seen.
Do Neymar, escapou, arrumou, bateu! Gol!
Neymar's dominant displays soon began to attract international attention. By his teenage years, European clubs were scouting him, and Neymar's dream of playing for the world's biggest teams began taking shape. However, with success came doubters. People didn't see a future superstar. They saw a skinny kid with flashy tricks who looked too fragile to survive in the real game. Some said he was too small, too weak, and that he wouldn't last a season in Europe. But once defenders started kicking him, he'd disappear. With Santos, Neymar began winning domestic titles, excelling in Copa Libertadores matches, and earning a reputation as a generational talent. He quickly became a national sensation in Brazil. As more highlights surfaced, his name started traveling across Europe as the new wonder boy. But his coaches and family knew his talent was exceptional and stayed patient with his development. Soon, big clubs began calling, and Neymar finally had the respect of a player who could define a generation. In 2013, at just the age of 21, the inevitable happened. Neymar Jr. made the move to Barcelona, the powerhouse of European football, a team led by Lionel Messi, already a living legend, and Luis Suarez, one of the most ruthless strikers in the game. Expectations were sky high, and Neymar, despite his youth, would have to prove that he could not only survive, but thrive alongside two of the world's best. From the very first match, it was clear that Neymar was different. His dribbling, honed on the streets of Santos, was now on display in the biggest stadiums in Spain. On November 1st, 2013, in La Liga clash against Sevilla, Neymar scored his first goal for Barcelona, and this was only the beginning. In his debut season, Neymar would record 15 goals and 13 assists in La Liga, helping Barcelona secure another league title. But the true test came in Europe, where Neymar's performances in the Champions League, especially against PSG and Bayern Munich, would cement his reputation. He wasn't just a supporting act to Messi and Suarez, he was a game changer, someone capable of moments of pure brilliance that could turn matches in an instant.
Neymar, they can't contain him, he's gone through the whole lot of them, unbelievable, unbelievable! That to some makeshift pre-season celebrity team, he's doing that to Juventus, and the goalkeeper.
One question still remained. Could Neymar truly shine in the shadow of Messi? Although people were trying to pit them against each other, Messi became both a teammate and a mentor. Watching Messi, Neymar learned not just about skill, but about decision making, patience, and reading the game. He began to understand that his talent wasn't just about dribbling past opponents, it was about making the right play at the right time every single time. And from then on, his game became inevitable. He now understood angles, timing, and balance. On the pitch, Neymar became like a chess grandmaster surrounded by pawns. Every defender's move was already written in his mind before it even happened. The game slowed down for him. It wasn't chaos anymore, it was control, a kind of calm brilliance that made him untouchable. He saw spaces that even fans in the best seats couldn't see. Neymar had now become unstoppable. By his second season, Neymar began to answer those questions, but it was the 2014-15 campaign where he truly put the world on notice. Alongside Messi and Suarez, he formed one of the most feared attacking trios in football history, a combination of elegance, power and chaos that tore defenses apart. Together, they conquered everything: La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and ultimately the UEFA Champions League. The treble was theirs. That season, Neymar recorded 46 goals and 19 assists in just 63 appearances, finishing third in the Ballon d'Or rankings, though many believed he deserved far more. The world was finally beginning to understand that Neymar wasn't just the future of football, he was football's present. But it was following the Champions League season when he would make history in a way no one could ignore. Barcelona had lost the first leg to Paris Saint-Germain 4-0. The tie was supposed to be over. No team had ever come back from that. But in the second leg at Camp Nou, PSG won. And yet, when the final whistle blew, when the headlines were written and the photos splashed across every paper, most of the glory went to Messi. Neymar had carried Barcelona that night, but the world still only saw the shadow of a legend. That moment lit something inside him, not resentment, but hunger, a burning desire to step out of the shadow and prove that he could be the face of a dynasty on his own. And so, in the summer of 2017, Neymar made a decision that would shock the footballing world. He left Barcelona for Paris Saint-Germain in a transfer worth 222 million euros, the most expensive in history. He was chasing destiny. His first season with PSG was nothing short of spectacular. 28 goals, 16 assists, and a domestic treble including Ligue 1, Coupe de France, and Coupe de la Liga. But the Champions League was the ultimate test, the stage where legends were made. And in the round of 16 against Real Madrid, Neymar delivered a masterclass, showcasing the brilliance that had made the world take notice. But as always, the game demanded a price. Injuries began creeping in. The 2018 World Cup in Russia brought not just the weight of his club, but the hopes of a nation. Neymar suffered a fractured vertebra against Mexico, an injury that could have ended everything. Yet he returned, stronger, hungrier, and more determined. The 2019 and 20 season was meant to be historic. Neymar, alongside Kylian Mbappe and Edinson Cavani, formed a fearsome attacking trio, a nightmare for any defense. And yet, when PSG reached the 2020 Champions League final against Bayern Munich, heartbreak struck. A single goal, a 1-0 defeat, and history seems to slip through their fingers. Injuries continued to test him, controversies off the pitch cast shadows, and PSG was no longer the home he dreamed it would be. But Neymar's story is far from over. As for now, the boy from Mogi das Cruzes had evolved into one of football's most complete and mesmerizing talents. In January 2025, after a challenging stint at Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, Neymar returned to the club where it all began, his boyhood club, his home. And while the world debates his career, his controversies, and his choices, one truth remains undeniable. Neymar, the former prodigy of Brazilian football, remained focused on what truly matters to him. While we don't know what the rest of his career holds, one thing is clear. Off the pitch, the Mogi das Cruzes native will forever be someone everyone can look up to.